Hey, welcome, everybody, and welcome to the Real Housewives of Potomac recaps and rants part 2. If you guys are new, my name's Tisa. I do recaps, I do rants, I do tarot, I do everything on this internet. But today we're all going to talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac. And y'all, what did you think of the second part of the reunion? Let me look in the comments. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. The second part was a little slow, but it was still good because they touched on major issues. And I have a working theory about this group, about what's going on. And in the larger spectrum of what Ashley and Candace was talking about. Hey, Mickey Russell. Hey, Amika. Hey, Deloria said, I didn't watch it. Well, you don't have to watch it because we are going to recap. Yay, Kimmy Bell. I liked Wendy as well. Red Lipstick Hustler, you said it was good. Let's run through this really quick. Also, Lily, do you want to come here and give your comments? If you guys don't know, Lily has a thriving YouTube channel, The Red Lipstick Hustler, and she also has a really good Instagram feed where she does a lot of lives. Hey, Amika. Hey, Chelsea. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, Morgan. What's up, Morgan? And the Tattle Tells. Morgan, you be in these YouTube streets. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you for having my back last night, girl. Shout out to Morgan D. Kathy Smith, what's up? Silver Fox, hey, Sophia. Yes, I love Candace's comebacks too. Hey, Darlene. Yeah, it was pretty good. Chelsea B, it showed the ladies so hypocritical. Hey, what's up, Almighty Mac? How are you doing, you guys? If you want inches, if you guys want bundles, go check out Almighty Mac on Instagram. He got what you need. Hopefully, if y'all ever see my hair straight, you know I'm sitting on inches because I don't like putting heat in my hair. I barely like combing my hair. I just pretty much wake up and go, and y'all get what y'all get, right? And my hair's in a ponytail. You know I combed it. Outside of that, y'all get what you get. Hey, April T. Wait, Robin's IG thing. Thank you. So hold on. Before we start this cap, let's get into it. April T said, I need to see Robin's IG story. She is dissing Candace. Hold on. I was on Ultra T watching the playback. Go ahead and follow Ultra T on Instagram. It's actually really good. But who is it? Robin Dixon? She's dissing Candace. Hold on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Take something that Karen has said and have Candace say it, but say it the way that Candace would say it, and it stings and it hurts so much deeper. Karen is putting like a, but she's like whimsical in a sense, yeah. Yes, Candace called Ashley wide body, and the way she said he took your wide body in. Versus if Karen was to say it, Ashley, you and your wide body showed up, and if you could go through everything that Karen has said, everything that Candace has said, flip the delivery, and it just sounds.
We're so listening different. To Robin's story. Okay, let's talk about this. I was about to get into the whole recap, and we're going to do this. But if you guys were listening, you have just heard Robin on her Instagram story. She has a podcast with Giselle, Reasonably Shady. Well, she's not on Reasonably Shady, but she's on a podcast talking about the difference between what Candace says and what Karen says. And you guys, this goes into my point. It is definitely group dynamics that are going on. But hear me out on this. Every excuse they're giving and everything they're saying feeds into what Candace is saying. So you are now trying to tell me, literally, that the way one person delivers the same sentence because their voice is aggressive, the way they deliver it stings, that's different than if another person says it, it's two different things. You guys, what does this sound like to you? What does this sound like to you? So when Candace, it just can't live. You guys are telling Candace that who she is as a person is fundamentally unacceptable. It doesn't even matter the words that's coming out your mouth. You need to work on your delivery. But even with the delivery, what are you saying? You're not even giving specific. First of all, it's crazy to tell someone you need to work on your delivery. Not your words, not this and that. But now you guys are running behind. Well, fine, we all say mean things. We all say out of things, but our stuff is said lighthearted. When Karen said Giselle was an old broken down hoe from Hampton U, what was lighthearted about that? How are they really trying to turn these digs and the way they come to each other for something lighthearted? It was just said in jest. Oh, Giselle didn't get upset. Giselle looked like she was going to cry at the dinner table. Giselle's still upset about that. And Giselle's going to get Karen back about it. But more to that, and we're going to get into the fun, lighthearted stuff because I actually want some of you guys to come up and talk. But more to that point, how do you respond as a human being? Now, I don't care if you like Candace or if you don't like Candace. Let's pull it back. Let's talk about you. How do you respond as a human being to when your coworkers or your family are telling you it's not even about the things you say, because we all say that. It's not about the things you do, because we all do that. But you know the difference is when this person says it, it sounds lighthearted. When that person says it, no, that stung. What somebody is fundamentally telling you that on a basic level, who you are as a person is not acceptable and it doesn't fit in. Never mind that what they're saying on that level is unacceptable. It's actually highly, highly demeaning, right? Never mind that. Because at a certain point, the issue you have with the way I deliver things is with you. If someone can say the exact same words to you, and you receive it as a joke from one person and you reject it from someone else, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? It's the person receiving it. I have a problem with you. I don't like you. So any way you say stuff and any way you do stuff is going to be a problem. It's like when somebody has a problem, me, I'm passionate. I get loud. I raise my voice. When I get in an argument, sometimes I say things I don't mean to. It doesn't matter. But if you can do it, and it's cool, and I can do it, it's a way of gaslighting, it's a way of control, it's a way of manipulation, but most of all, it's more reflecting on the person that's listening. Because how are you getting the same words, and you can receive it from one person and not another? And if that is the point, why is the person talking to you you see as going for the jugular, you see as more aggressive, you see as mean and cruel? But the person saying the same words, it's lighthearted, it's a joke. That's the way things are going to be. What does that say about you? What are we saying about this conversation? And what does that mean for everybody? What does that mean for everybody? Listen, Candace did what she had to do, but you know what the best thing Candace did? So if you guys don't know anything, there were some fake moments in the show, all right? Let's start from the top, and then we'll get into the Candace Wendy thing. Let's start from the top, right? Anyway, let's get into this, right? Oh, Almighty Max said he's having a Black Friday sale for his heel, right? Let's see. Listen, this whole season has been the Twilight Zone. I'll get into your comments in a second. This whole season, you know what it reminds me of, though? This is why the Real Housewives of Potomac is so triggering, and why the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is like, it's triggering. If anybody's ever been in a corporate environment, which for whatever reason, they have decided that you don't fit in. And the thing is, in a corporate environment, just like what Candace is doing, she's doing her best because she wants to show she needs a platform. These are her coworkers, right? She understands the assignment. She's already smarter than most of them as far as quicker, like coming back, right? Nobody on that stage is a dummy, but Candace is very, very quick. And they literally won't, like, they're literally telling her that you don't fit in. And they made these excuses on why Candace doesn't fit in. She doesn't fit in because the way she does this. She doesn't fit in because she said this. When Candace came to their asses with facts saying, but didn't you say this? But didn't you say this? How are y'all talking about body shaming with when I said something about somebody's foot? Well, you talk about people's private parts. You've talked about people's this. You've talked about people's that. How am I doing this? When they said, oh, but you say vicious thing, but didn't you say this? Then the real truth came out. The real truth came out is we just don't like you. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. It's always going to be unacceptable. Like Robin said, even if you say the same exact thing that I said to you, it's unacceptable. Why? Because it came from you. Why? Because you're unacceptable, because you don't fit in. That conversation where Ashley was like, this conversation needs to stop right now. When Darby's Barbie said, this conversation needs to stop right now. And Andy looked at her and she said, do you think this is an issue with this? Hold on, guys. She said, do you think she said, do you think that this is like an issue with this or that or blah 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 blah? And I was like, how do you have a conversation about whether you think something exists with something that you cannot be at best you are not affected by, at worst you perpetrate? Do you see what I'm saying? How is that? That is like me having a conversation about people that own lions, right? Do you think that this is very lionist? And I'm like, well, actually, no, I don't think that what's going on here is lionist. But you don't own a lion. You've never raised a lion. Do you think that is a correct way to raise a lion? Actually, I don't. Because I can say 100% that it's not. How are you, and this is what Potomac always does, how are you asking people that are not affected by, that have never experienced? Again, Ashley talks about like, oh, well, I'm this and all, I'm that. But that's a different conversation. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, I mean, a little bit, it's like intersectional feminism, isn't it? The way you have to accept that, yes, while we do have certain nexuses and intersections where our goals collide, why is it so hard for them to understand that something that they are not affected by, something that they will never experience, and something that at worst they might actually perpetuate? Why are they so closed off? And why does Andy accept their answers? When Candace was saying, I think it's A, B, and C, right? Andy was like, okay, next question. Hold on, let's see what Ashley has to say. Karen, what do you think? But then again, Andy, I feel like doesn't understand the Oh, actually, that's not true because Andy doesn't like Candace. But I feel like he doesn't understand. I don't think he understands. Sorry, I'm like literally in a hotel room trying to juggle pillows so I can have my laptop at eye level, and it is failing horribly. Y'all, a wing and a prayer. Life is crazy. So, anyway, right? Every single time, listen, again, so listen, let's get through this thing, right? For everybody that hasn't seen the episode yet, it starts off with this weird thing about how they have this, to me, this perfectly staged reaction of whether Karen and Giselle are close. And to me, it's the oddest thing ever because Giselle breaks down in tears and says, but when you came, you were nice to my daughters, and that made her break down. I don't know what Jill was going through. I don't know if Giselle is just good at crying. I do notice that nobody shamed her for crying. I do know that nobody played her and been like, you've been the most evil one up here all season. You have been a harbinger of evil. You've been a harbinger for evil, right? But yet you're allowed to cry. You're allowed to have that grace. Everybody goes, because Giselle's allowed to have feelings. I don't want to say they dehumanize Candace. I will say that Candace on that stage is the only one not allowed to have feelings. And honestly, and I'm saying this to everybody, I honestly feel that maybe because I am too, when I get upset, when I get angry, whatever, tears come from my eyes. If somebody crying triggers you, you need to go and really figure out why that is. If somebody's showing you that their emotions, and again, granted, I'm not out there crying as much as Candace is, but then again, I'm not on a national TV on a stage where 5 people are attacking me for not even for the things I do, for just the way I talk, the way I deliver, the way I am. What do you expect somebody to do when you completely reject who they are on a deep level so that their voice gets to you? What do you do? What do you do? Listen, Andy laughed and mocked Candace when she cried. Giselle mocked Candace when she cried. Giselle cried. She was allowed to have feelings and emotion. Ashley cried. She's allowed to have feelings. Wendy has not cried, but Wendy understands the assignment. Like she said, she's been with White House secretaries. She's been on Fox News. She knows that they don't give a damn about those tears, probably because they're coming from Wendy. When Karen cried, when she broke down, everybody ran to her comfort, right? And I'm not saying that none of these ladies had a reason to cry. I am actually, let me take that back. I am saying that when Giselle had this fake makeup, when she said, "Oh my God, you talk to my girls," and that meant something to me, it really does make me think that they were like, "Listen, make up with Karen because we have to squash this feud." Now, isn't it funny? And again, I saw something on YouTube from the housewife and the hustler, right? And he was saying that from the housewife and the hustler, and he was saying that like um he was saying that Candace might have gotten fired or whatnot. I'll be honest with you. I didn't watch the video. I saw it. Somebody sent it to me, shout out to Lily. You sent it to me. And so I didn't watch I didn't watch any of the video, but I just saw that headline. But the thing is that maybe it just stuck into my head where I was like, oh, maybe I should watch this video is because when it came to the way they were treating, right? Do you see how they literally forced Giselle and Karen to squash their beef? Giselle started crying. Karen said, "Yes, I understand and I receive it and this and that." And Andy didn't ask any probing questions. He didn't say anything. He just said, "Well, that's good." And then they tried to start that beef with Ashley and Candace. And Candace was like, "I can be cool with Ashley, but I'm moving on." And Giselle was like, "But can you leave it alone? Can you forgive her?" And Candace was like, "No, I don't think I can, but we can be cordial. We can be coworkers." And they made this huge, big deal about it. Now, should Candace have said, "Okay, yeah, fine, I can forgive Ashley," and then go the next season and write a police report about Ashley? I don't know. Is it the smartest thing, Candace being honest? I don't know, but that's a Saggy and Candace, right? They got to be honest. They got to do something. Listen, Karen is a grand liar. Do you see where they said that Karen was like, "I never said that. I never said that." And they played it and nobody pressed her, right? And do you see like what happened with Candace, right? When Candace literally said, "I didn't call you a slave." Yes, you did, Candace. You called Ashley a slave. But you know what? Okay, you called her a slave, right? They've called whores, they've called strippers, they've called this. Okay, fine. You said you said it was wrong. You should have apologized, right? But that said, Ashley said some low down stuff about her too. Now, this is the thing about the conversation when Ashley was like, "I don't see this happening. I don't see, we need to have a conversation about like color. I don't see it happening." Again, how are you letting someone that is not affected, doesn't suffer from it or whatever, give their 2 cents? Now, here's the thing. Anybody can give their 2 cents on that subject, but to say it doesn't exist, who are you to say that you don't see it? Wendy wrapped Ashley up where she said, "But if it exists in society, how can it not exist in this group of women?" And Ashley went into her Miss America stuff saying, "Well, I understand that, but blah, 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 blah. But in this group, it doesn't exist." Listen, if we are a student of statistics, it does, right? So it's like, okay, you got this, you got that. You said it doesn't exist. But yet, with Candace, again, and this is the thing, I just don't get along. How are you guys saying that you find inherently the way Candace says words as more aggressive and more stinging and more vile and more assaulting than what anybody else has? I just want to know. When Ashley goes for the juggler with Candace, it's delivered in a different way. But when Candace does it, Candace talks as educated as Karen. She has a way about her words. She's very eloquent and she doesn't raise her voice. I mean, she does sometimes, but when she gives most of her reads, she's talking in a calm manner and she's saying this and she's saying that. So outside of that, what makes the way Candace says stuff more? Is it because you view Candace as more aggressive? You view Candace as more vile? You view Candace as more whatever? Is that what the situation is? I really want to know. I want somebody to actually tell me. You know, I want someone to tell me again, in what world is the measure of what something is happening? The person that may, at worst, be doing it, or at the very least, you've never got affected by it. How would you know what it is? Have you experienced it? Have you ever seen it? See, this would have been a question that if I was Andy or anyone, I would have thrown back. Or maybe they did and they threw it back. But what does it look like to you? What is your definition of this? Because sometimes it's like, no, tell me, what is your definition of this? What does it look like? What does it look like? Because I'm telling you what I experienced and you're saying that's not it. So you tell me what it looks like. Because if we had asked Ashley and Giselle and Karen what their definitions looked like, that would have disqualified them from the whole conversation. Because anybody that's ever seen or experienced it would have said, that ain't it. It's more nuanced than that. It's more this, it's more that. It is microaggression, a thing. I find it odd that on a couch, a Black woman, find it odd that when they were talking about body shaming, right? And they were talking about taking low blows, Candace said, you called my hair dry. I got 4C hair. Let me tell you something. Anyone that is in America knows the heavy trauma that we bear over our hair. And the more you go down from ones to twos to threes to fours to fives and go into the ABCs, there's real trauma. There's generational trauma. There's trauma toward the outside community coming at us, and there's trauma in our own community. To the point of when people look at people to fall in love with and have children with, that's one of the features people look at. Same way you might be like, I want somebody tall and sweet with a pretty nice teeth and pretty smile. And you know what? This is the way I want my hair to look. The way you'll see a baby, right? That looks like an Ewok, but the baby got curly hair and everybody's just like, oh my God, the baby's so beautiful. And you'll see another baby that looks like a little doll baby. They got 4C hair and everybody's just like, they're okay. Tell me how. Tell me how. I know all babies are beautiful, but y'all get my point. You know what I'm saying, right? There is nothing, I think, that can cut a Black woman more, and nothing that we have been maligned for. Weaves, wigs, nappy edges, edge control. You know, I stay with my edge control because I even grew up where you were literally looked at as a dusty, busty, whatever, if your edges weren't laid. Think about it. My edges are like thinning right now because of years of putting edge control, Dax on my edges, then followed up with the Eco Salar, then edge control, and all those heavy things on my edges just to get my edges to lay down. And again, I make a joke out of it, but if I really want to get deep about it, why do I feel the most unattractive when my edges are up looking like little daffodils, weeping willows and daffodils? Because I was conditioned, because my mom was conditioned, because we were all conditioned that there's nothing worse than having coarse hair. Now, this was wrong. This was brainwashing, but can we be real? And I find it odd in a room full of women that were all the same, that you guys all let that comment about her hair go. Where to me, that was one of the lowest things. Lowest things. Do you guys know that perms, straighteners, cause cancer? It's not it. You guys don't believe me? Google it. Google it. It causes cancer. It causes Alzheimer's. That shit, that Dark and Lovely, it is so toxic. Why? Do you know how much money we spend a year on hair care? And listen, we can have a whole video about hair trauma, right? We can have a whole video about hair trauma, both from the outside community telling us our hair is unacceptable and from our inside community telling us what's acceptable and not acceptable. It's the same thing. But my whole point is the fact that we regularly have so many women. And again, get your perm. Listen, my hair was permed. I'm not judging people because you do what I do. I've done what you've done. This is not about judgment, right? This is about the fact of realizing the way the poison from somebody letting you know that on a deep level, you are not acceptable. From the times way back when we first got dragged over here, the way that poison carries over through generations, and the way a group of women on stage that all come, right? All come from the same thing. I mean, I don't know what Ashley's been through. I don't know. I don't know if Ashley's mom. Whatever. We'll include Ashley in the conversation, right? Because she keeps saying she's biracial, but I don't know which one it is, right? But my whole point is we see, right? We see the trauma that's been passed down when we drink our mother's milk. That poison in the DNA from what they told us is unacceptable about us has been passed down. And it makes me sick that they sat there and they let that comment go. It makes me sick. Hey, Liberia, it makes me sick. Mel will be here soon, y'all. He's popping in soon. It makes me sick, 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 sick. Listen, somebody said, Mel will be here, you guys. She's joining shortly. Don't worry about this. I wanted to get this rant off so Mel wasn't sitting here while I was ranting because I had a rant to do, and then we'll get into the recap, right? This will lighten up everybody, but it really hurt my soul and it made me sick. Listen, Tina Chris said Ashley hair is dry as well, so she can't talk. I didn't like that Candace called her white body right after her baby. Candace is not a mother. She's not. Let me tell you something. I agree with you. That white body was a little slow. But I have to disagree with you, Tina Chris. When Ashley called her edges dry, she was calling them nappy. She was calling her nappy. You got dry edges and look at my silky edges. That's what she was doing. And maybe to you it would go over your head. Maybe you have silky edges. I don't know. But literally, while you're dressed up on national TV calling somebody's edges dry, that was literally, to me, just as low, if not lower, than calling somebody wide body. But here's my point. Let's just say they're on the same level, because they are. I think what she did was lower, but they are, right? Right? And like, I'm not body shaming Ashley, right? Because even at Ashley's skinniest, Michael tends to like wider shoulders and narrow hips. I'm just saying, right? But here's my point, right? And yeah, Candace was calling her fat. And Ashley did look a mess, even though I get it. She just had a baby. She's trying to be sexy. I thought Ashley looked a mess in that black and white Beetlejuice getup. I thought it did make her look wide. I thought, you know what it reminded me of? You know, people are just like, you know how you read fashion magazines and they're just like, to disguise extra weight, wear stripes. And I feel like because when Ashley was looking in the mirror, she saw an optical illusion. The only thing about optical illusions, they only work when you're in the mirror. When you start moving around and when you're on film, people can like, yeah, I still see it, right? But I just had to giggle because I was like, Ashley was deep in Good Housekeeping, being like, so to disguise hips, I wear an A-line skirt, and to disguise this. But here's my point, right? Here is my point, right? Here is my point. You guys, listen. Dr. 39 was it Candace calls people this. Okay, but guess what? I could tell you your fave is friends with people that call people that. Second of all, can we stop this thing of trying to act like everybody? Can we stay on you guys, let's stay on topic, right? I know I'm the last person saying that because I'm all over the place. Y'all, let's stay on topic, right? We are already in the land of everybody ain't shit. Ain't no one on that stage is innocent. No one on that stage has clean hands. Everybody on that stage body shames. Everybody on that stage goes for the juggler. Okay? So stop it. This isn't saying that Candace is an angel and other people aren't. We're not talking about, like, you guys, come on. Stop playing this. I literally just got gaslit from an hour from Bravo. Don't do this to me in the chat. Listen, we're going to have to agree that the sky is blue, the sun is yellow, the moon comes up at night, and we are on planet Earth. No one on that stage is innocent, except maybe a Scala, right? Everybody is body shamed. Everybody has gone for the juggler. Everybody has called people. Everybody is fat shamed. Everybody is phobia shamed. Everybody has done this. Tell me the difference between someone being like, you took your wide body ass, right? And someone saying, you're annoying as shit. Now, let me tell you something. Do you know why the annoying as shit I actually will find more offensive? Because the wide body ass, maybe I could change. Maybe I could diet. Maybe I could lose weight. But the annoying as shit is me telling you on a basic fundamental level, I don't fucking like you. And there's nothing you can do to change it except for sit there and shut up and shrink yourself and don't let me be seen. But that's me, right? Someone telling me that the way I deliver something, the exact same words, is more vile, vulgar, and disgusting than this person that just said the same words to me, that's super offensive. But again, if y'all ever want to get, I know people are always like taking shots. If you ever want to hit me in this, no, that's not true. Let me not tell y'all where my thing's in because y'all will. But here's my whole point. Everybody on that stage has said vile stuff. Everybody on that stage has said disgusting stuff. So stop acting like I'm trying to say Candace is an angel. Candace is not an angel. Candace will get down in the gutter. That's what she's paid for. Just like I always say, I can't stand Ashley shit, but she's good TV. I said Giselle gets on my nerves, but she's good TV. I happen to, Candace sometimes gets on my nerves, but I like her. Just like I like Ashley sometimes. Well, just like I like Giselle sometimes, just like I like Karen sometimes, just like I like Wendy sometimes, just like I like Mia sometimes. But nobody's an angel. So stop being when I'm trying to say, how are we having a conversation about whether something exists? You ask the lightest person on that stage that is the least connected to the community, does exist. She says no. And then in a stage full of Black women, somebody says, but you were talking about my 4C hair. And everybody just act like, oh, what's the big deal? It's just hair. Let it go. When you know it's not that. When you know it. When you know it. Texturism is like, y'all, there are grad school theses written about it. There are thought pieces and thick tigs. We are dying from the cancerous perms every year. And I'm not shading anyone that has a perm because I used to have perms too. It's just the fact that they were breaking my hair out so bad. I just stopped because I was like, I would like to have some hair. But you see Tisha from what? 5 years ago? My shit was silky straight. Thin as all can be and breaking off wherever. So it's, y'all, what do y'all think about this? Let's go to the comments really, really quick before we get into the recus, right? Let's go into the comments. I just don't understand how the 4C comment is just like, oh, whatever. And that's when I really said, this is an organized. That's when I looked and I said, this is a hit piece. This is an organized hit piece. Y'all literally all got together and you understood the assignment. Your producers got with you, and Candace is the target. There is nothing Candace can say to not be mad. If Candace had gotten on that stage and got on her hands and knees and in front of everyone said, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and kissed their feet. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, and kissed their feet. Each and every one of them, they still would have had a problem with that. What, her spit's too wet? You ain't like the way he said, the way she bowed seemed disrespectful. It was a hit piece. Candace was meant, right? It was a hit piece. Candace was 100% meant to be the victim of everything, to get all the blame, and no matter what she did. And again, I'll give it to Candace. You can like Candace or you cannot Candace. That bitch was like a ninja. She handled 5 people at once. It was light work. It was light work. You know, it's like when Andy, again, the hypocrisy. It's like when Andy was talking to Mia about the candles, right? Mia, when Andy was talking to Mia about the candles, Mia was like, oh yeah, I got my own candle. It's not Mia's candle. She just has a store where she sells shit. It's like me, like going on Instagram Live and be like, I got Glade plugins, but they're not to compete with Karen, but they're not really mine. Andy just let that shit go. The fact that that candle that Mia says is hers, she actually co-opted as a joke for Candace, but really that candle was invented for women that are victims of vicious abuse in France. And all proceeds go to this women's shelter that helped them rebuild their lives after they've been through horrific things. When I say horrific, I mean the worst of the worst. But Andy just let that go because it was a better joke to be like, oh, a Candlegate. Y'all, let's go. Listen, you guys. Listen. And this is the last thing, Matika, sweetie. You're really angry tonight. Stay sweet. You can make the same comments without anger, but I'll tell you this: if Chris and Candace ever have children, I can see the future. But Matika, you're literally doing what they're doing to Candace on stage. Who are you to tell me when I see something that affects me and my community, and I see something that affects me and the women in my bloodline, and probably in my bloodline to come? Hopefully things will change. That it affected us in real ways, had people crying, had people putting poison on their scalp, had people feeling that they were unwanted, whatever. Who are you to tell me the way I should react to the real pain that I see? Who are you to tell me? Who are you to tell anyone that when somebody truly hurts them, they need to stay sweet and sound? Are we ever allowed to be outraged by anything? Are we ever allowed to say anything? This isn't about you telling me, but I'm just saying, sweetie, Matika, for saying, say, who are you to come and tell anybody how to respond? It's so funny that I'm telling you a message of pain. I'm telling you a message of poison. And I'm telling you a message of something that you should actually know, right? I'm telling you a message of something that you actually should know. Or maybe you don't. But then you're telling me that, like, the way, girl, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. This example of what you just wrote, whether you get it or not, is exactly what's happening to Candace on that thing. I told you a story of pain. I told you a story of generational trauma that we're all experiencing. I don't know if you're a part of my community or not. I'm telling you a story, and you're concerned about how angry I am and the way my delivery is. But this is the question I would say to you, Matika, is why aren't you angry? Why aren't you taking up arms? Why does this story not touch you? Maybe that's a question we should be asking, right? Listen, but here's the thing. I don't think that she is. I don't think that she's an idiot. I think a lot of people think like that, and this is a conversation we really need to have as a society. Let's bring Mel NYC on. This is a conversation we need to have as a society. When are we allowed to actually be outraged? When are we allowed to be angry? When are we allowed to let our pain show? Maybe that's why it annoys people so much when Candace cries, because nobody wants to be real mad. Because if you acknowledge the pain is real, if you acknowledge the fury is justified, if you acknowledge the anger is based in something, then it makes you have to see then you have to see, like, oh, it makes ability. Anyway, let's move on. It makes a responsibility to those people, and then people have to literally actually say to themselves, okay, well, if that's the case, then something needs to be done. Something needs to be fixed. And nobody wants to actually fix the problem. They want everybody to be sweet and nice and smile. They want everybody to do what Crystal and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills did, right? Where she said, I'm experiencing these things and it's hurtful. And they're like, oh, you know, you're more than that. And then she said, thank you. And then she moved on. No remedies about how can we fix this? How can we protect you more? What can we do to make sure you're better protected? You see how that part of the conversation was completely excluded, right? It was completely excluded from the conversation. And all they wanted her to do was say, thank you. Your love means a lot. Take the pat on the head and go away. But anyway, let's get into this thing. Mel, NYC Reviews, how are you doing tonight? How are you doing tonight?
I was doing good.
That's good. That's good. So what you think of the episode?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the episode. I was surprised. I think that this year they're doing pretty good with the previews because I thought it was going to be a dud, and actually it was very interesting. I was very busy today, so I didn't get a chance to take copious notes. I made a couple of impressions. It was sort of a last minute chance to view. Um, but yeah, it was a good episode. I was surprised at how good it was. It felt almost like a vintage Potomac reunion. I was here for it. It's pretty interesting, and we didn't even see Nicki Minaj. I don't think we needed it tonight because the girls were on point.
It was a really good reunion, especially consider, or maybe Beverly Hills just ruined everything for everyone, but it was a really good reunion. What was your favorite part of the reunion?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. There's so many different pieces to it. Wow. I mean, I guess I like the fact that Candace was pretty reserved. Well, I will say that I'm not sure if it was my favorite, but I was really, I think at the beginning of this whole year of Potomac, I was sort of thinking, oh, well, Candace is not thinking about Ashley and yada, yada, boom, 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 boom. But I have to say that I'm actually here for how transparent and how honest Candace has been. She really, I hate to say it, she really was really bothered by Ashley last year. And as a fan of Candace, I just didn't see that part, but she keeps admitting it. She keeps on affirming that she was trying to be friends with her, and when she signed the paper, and she's friends with Monique, that they seem to bother her. It bothers her with Karen. And listen, I personally wouldn't be bothered by people in my life who, um, you know, uh, I'm not that kind of person. I really don't get too invested in people that way. So that maybe in my way I projected that she was not bothered, but she is, and I respect that. I don't judge it. She was bothered, so I was surprised that she owned that. Yeah, I was surprised by that.
When you said she was bothered, what are you talking about?
Well, she said she was bothered by the fact that Ashley signed the paper and used it as a vengeful tool to get back at her. She said that she was bothered that Karen was still friends with Monique, and she was bothered that Ashley was still friends with a person who committed violence against her. So I think I'm paraphrasing what she said. I thought that was behind her. I didn't think that she was still that was still something that she was still bothered by.
Mm,
But I love Candace, and I love the fact that she was brave enough to own it, because even though she's seen the reviews where people say, "Oh, she's mean and she's this way and she's bothered by Ashley and bothered by this because of Monique." And I've been on different, I've called into different things, and I said, "No, no, no, she's not bothered at all. No, 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 no." But she said tonight she was. So it's okay. I'm not judging Candace. She has her own feelings, and I think it's brave. I actually really love the fact that she was able to hear the blogs drag her for that, and she said, "Yeah, I am bothered by this." So it's not me, couldn't be me, because I don't get bothered by much. I mean, once I see somebody, what's up? What's you gonna say?
no, I find that interesting you say that. I mean, I think that there's different types of bothered. I mean, granted, I always thought Candace was bothered by it because, again, I never heard her say she wasn't bothered, but it makes sense, right? Of course, you try to act like you're not bothered,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think I was
don't
hoping she
understand.
wasn't.
There's a difference. I don't understand with this whole bothered society. Again, this is always something that's just been me. That's been something curious in life I've always seen. Someone talking trash about you, who cares, right? Someone talking trash about your family, you could be like, I'm not bothered. Someone saying you're not going to be shit, okay, whatever. Somebody criticizing, but somebody genuinely coming for you and trying to destroy you, wouldn't that be stupid not to be bothered by that? So
Well, I
with
mean, well,
Candace,
okay, yeah. Go ahead, go
no,
ahead.
no.
All
So
right.
with Ashley, at that time, Monique was
Mhm.
countersuing Candace, right? She was countersuing Candace. Candace could have ended up getting some time too, or probation. Ashley writing that statement for her literally upped the chances of Candace maybe getting probation. So if somebody had written something with the intention that you get jail time or get probation, how could you be in the same room with them and not say like you were bothered? Like at what point? So that just means we're just like what, going for people's jugglers, and it's just like I don't care, I don't care, and it's like yeah, I actually do care. You literally tried to destroy me. We have a problem, you
Right.
know. Well, and
Well, listen, yeah,
go on.
yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, I think that I brought into the fact that when she came into the season this year, I love the fact that she didn't invite Ashley to things. I love the fact that she was focused on her schooling, and she was focused on her music. And it just was, as the season went on, she was revealing layers that she was still bothered about when she cussed her out, when she cussed out Ashley. And I again, the other people, some people would say, "Oh no, she's bothered," and I was like, "No," and I think I was projecting because I don't get bothered. Now, as me and you talk on and offline, things happen, and I was able to see some of the things you were saying earlier, and I'm sending good vibes to you as always. Off, just the way it is. I was just going to say, side note, yeah, YouTube is very crazy. I get annoyed. I get annoyed by things, but I don't get bothered. And I think I was projecting that onto to Candace. I think I was just saying, oh well, she's doing so well. She's in a wonderful marriage, and But again, I judge. I don't judge her, and I love the fact that she was able to just sort of be brave and be out there, and even no matter what people say about her. So I like that part.
Yeah. You guys, I just want to let you guys know my teary thing earlier. I don't know what you guys think. I wasn't crying over YouTube. I'm actually going through real shit in real life, real things. So when I talked about that, I'm just an emotional person. So if you guys are thinking that I'm crying because people are trying to bully me, that is not. what is happening. Just want to clear that up because I don't know if
No,
everybody's just doing the wrong thing about
that's
that.
okay.
But
But I
we
agree with
all
this.
have real lives with stuff. As far as me being angry about stuff I see in the comments, yeah, you guys, it does make me angry that I don't know. The reunion was a good reunion, but for people that are affected by things, um, I do believe that, like, when are people allowed to be upset? When are people allowed to actually show emotion? When are about again, you guys can call me angry all you want. I don't care. You can label me angry, but I am saying it's like, I don't know. I kind of I see this, and when I'm on YouTube, I'm starting to see, you see life from just experiencing it, and then you pull back because a group of people, 5 humans in a room, is completely different than 50,000 humans in a room. And I see when there's 50,000 humans in the room, we tend to, as humanity, if we have not experienced something personally, it does not affect us personally, if somebody we love has not been affected by it, maybe I've been blessed or cursed with the people I love I've seen affected by multiple issues, right? Outside of in the community, outside, I've seen multiple issues affect them. But I find it a curious thing with people where if you have not experienced something personally and something does not directly affect you, then there's nothing to be angry about. Oh, why are you so angry? And it's a weird thing. I think it's like, psychologically, everything changes in time. And right now, we're in the era of narcissism. We're in the anger of the narcissist.
Yeah, amen to that. I
Yeah,
think so. Yeah,
yeah, our society, we glorify people. And this
but
isn't
nobody.
Mel. I
Yeah,
get what you're saying about not being bothered. This is not about Mel not being. I get it because you have to keep your own mind. You got to float above.
but
But
I
the
think that what I was going to say, but I think that if you've been through a lot, like I've been through a lot, you sort of get desensitized by nothing that's not to that level. But I was going to say what you say about narcissism in this society. I agree, but I think that also that we got a lot of people who's not listening. So I think that if you've not experienced something, doesn't mean that you can't sit there and listen and see and empathize and see somebody's hurting. So I've not experienced a lot of things, but if somebody's hurting or somebody is whatever it is, I'm going to witness their emotions. I'm going to be there to observe. I'm going to be there to support. And I think that a lot of people don't do that.
I agree with you. And I think a lot of people don't do that is because we've been brought up and fed and, aged at least like anybody that was born after like what, 1980, no, 1990. Anybody who's been born after 1990, brought up and eaten the age of narcissism where look at the movies that you look at look at an old school movie, Scarface. That's supposed to be a cautionary tale. It literally inspired millions of children to want to be the criminal, right? You look at the
Mm.
Wolf of Wall Street, you look at American Psycho. We have been bred to idolize people that can do anything they need to do ahead, but more than that, are so, and not to use your word unbothered because I realize you're talking about something completely different, but to act like other humans suffering, pain, guilt, responsibility, any connection to the people in your life, to your community is bothersome. If you can cut off those feelings, the more people you can screw over, the more you can climb ahead, the more you win. Now, I have a bigger notion that the reason we do that is because how else are we going to live in this capitalistic society where we are basically consuming our own souls to get ahead? You have to admire a
Amen.
Zuckerberg or a Jeff Bezos because if you don't, then it's just like, why are you a 300 billionaire and you're paying people $10 an hour, busting unions and not giving people health care and firing people if they get sick for even 2 days? No, 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 no. You have to, and again, these images that we are fed, you have to like actually move out and think about it from a larger scale. We fed this idolization of people that are very narcissistic, almost to the point of sociopathic. Because when Jeff Bezos does do that, you have people, they're defending him. Yes, that's what he has to do. Don't get mad at him because he's getting a bag. Don't get mad at him because he's getting a coin. But you have to realize when you're getting a bag, you are robbing something. And we are fed this constant diet of, and even on a minor level, I think it goes down to, oh, I'm unbothered. And this isn't anything against what you're saying, because I know you're talking about another isolated incident, right? In a different way, where you cannot let other people's hate of you stop you. I get that what you're
I
saying.
just can't. No, I was just going to say I just can't feel it. I'm being honest with you. I personally can't feel a lot of things when it comes to, I just don't feel it. I've been through things, so I just can't feel it. I can get annoyed if it's constantly annoyingly in my face, but I'm built that way currently. But I do honor, so what I would say to Candace, that she was vulnerable enough to see the whole review of what's going on, and she basically was brave enough to tell her truth. I love that. I love
I
it.
love that too, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. I'll agree
So.
with you on that. I give Candace that. Candace, to me, is an incredibly brave person. She is not afraid to humble herself and look. I mean, again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. But like, I start tearing up, and you guys are like, "Oh my God, YouTube's really getting to her," and it's just like. To Mel's point, yeah, I'm unbothered, but it's like, no, there's just other real stuff going on in the background. The YouTube thing is like a mosquito buzzing, right? But there's other real stuff going on in the background. And it's like, to take myself out of it because I don't have any place to be in the conversation when we talk about billionaires and Jeff Bezos, right? So let me take myself out of that conversation. But I will say that there is something, and I think reality TV actually shows it. And that's why I find reality TV so interesting, because it shows as a culture where we are at as a whole, what's social acceptable and what's not. It's just like Candy said. Thank you for the super chat, Candy. We had to wear wigs, cover our heads with scarves, and relax, straighten our damn hair. They forced our babies to cut their dreads at games to be disqualified. Listen, I cannot tell you how many times I've had people comment about my hair. I know definitely. Hey, Speak Spit Sister. Thank you so much for the love and light. I appreciate that. I know so much, like, in my hair, it's like, yeah, some people might be like, oh my God, you have beautiful hair. There might be other people in my life that have literally dragged me through the gutter for my hair. And again, everybody's life is different, everybody's experiences are different. But to your point, Mel, what is going on that people cannot just allow people, not only that, to feel their emotions and acknowledge their emotions, but I get it. When you acknowledge people's emotions, you have to actually act and actually listen, to your point, and say, why do you feel that way? Right? Why are you so upset? Why are you so angry? Instead of sitting there and being like, oh my God, you're so angry. To actually, and this is why people, the age of the psychopath, if you ask, but hey, why do you feel that way? Then most likely you're going to get an answer that's going to require you in some way to change what you're doing. And when you don't want to do that, you just stay away from it. Like, oh, okay. It's like when you see somebody crying in a room. I remember when I first moved to New York a long time ago. I lived in New York for a long time. And you know me, I'm like, la 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 la, and you know me, I'll be in a stranger like, sweetie, what happened? Leave him alone. And I was in a Dwayne Reed. Anybody in New York knows what Dwayne Reed is. And this
Mm-hmm.
woman was at the counter breaking down, like just breaking down in tears, trying to get her prescription and just breaking down. And I don't know what was going on, but then she turned around from the counter because she was crying so much they couldn't really help her. And people are like, oh, let me just go, let me go. And I remember I thought everybody in New York was a goddamn monster because everybody act like this human being that was having this very rare, real experience didn't exist. And the thing is, I scared her because I went up to her and I was like, touched her arm and I was like, are you okay? Do you need to talk? What's going on? You know those little seats by the pharmacy counter at the Way Reed? I was like, do
That's
you want
right.
to sit down? And she looked at me like I was crazy. I mean, we ended up talking, right? I've always gotten a crazy look, but it just shocked me that in a city of this many people, when I first moved to New York, it shocked me that you would go eat at the most expensive restaurants. The guy I used to date back then, he was like a big foodie. So we were, he only wanted to eat at five-star restaurants. He only wanted to eat at expensive places. And it shocked me that every place we went to, you would literally be stepping over people in the street begging for $1. And everybody just acted like they weren't there. You know? There's something going on in society where somebody can't keep up, they're too weak, they're too this, too that. Do what you got to do to get ahead. But at the end of the day, it's a dangerous way of thinking because what happens when you can't keep up? What happens when you have a bad day? It just, I don't know. It's just odd. I'm sorry to take this right. I just literally, you know me, I'm philosophical right now, right? But
It's okay, sister. It's okay. Do what you need to do.
yeah, you know, I just think so, right? Well, here's the thing, sweet cutie. Almost everyone was on Candace's side last season and let her cry and vent. This is true, but you have to remember that the season kept on filming. And you also have to remember, right? This is actually very important. You also have to remember that people heal in their own time. You cannot go. I mean, honestly, you guys, if everybody could just cry and vent and move on, there wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar therapy industry. Psychotherapies on down, you know. Um, I just think that there's something sociopathic in our society right now, and it's something that is being fed to us through media, through ads, through the music we listen to, through everything, where it's like consume, 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 and if you can't feed the belly of the beast, then you get burnt too. But I'm telling you, the whole reason for that is to keep this system alive that we have right now, which is not just capitalism, but it's extraction capitalism. You take something, you extract everything valuable until it's dead, and then you move on to the next thing. But the thing with extraction capitalism is if everything you touch, you suck the life of, then eventually the belly of the beast feeds itself. And eventually, anyway, let me get off this thing about populism, because y'all didn't come to talk politics, right? If you guys didn't know, I had a minor in politics, but anyway, it doesn't even matter. I don't know, but the Housewives show. So anyway, this was a good episode. Let's talk about the funner things, right? Overall, they are a cast of beautiful black women representing us well, just as you are. You guys have to understand, though, when I make arguments, I just want you guys, and I know you do see it, but I want us to focus on the nuance. Multiple things can be right. You know that old saying, you are always the villain in someone's story? I think I'm a great person. I'm sure there's people that hate my guts. Sometimes it might be deserved, sometimes it might not be. That's just life. The people that love me and know me, yeah, they're down for me. The people that can't stand me, they're completely against. That's not it. By me actually saying the hair issue is a real issue. The 4C issue is very thing. And I was disappointed to see a room full of black women on national TV, and they're representing us to everyone, act like and gaslight and act like the hair thing was no big deal, was big disappointment. Does it not mean they're beautiful? No. Does it not mean they represent us well? No. Does it mean that I was disappointed? Yes. That's all I'm saying. You guys, I know it's reality TV, but we can have actual nuanced conversation. Just because I like Candace doesn't mean that she's never wrong and hasn't done some messed up stuff, right? Just because I can't stand Ashley doesn't mean that she's never had a point. It's just the nuance of the conversation. And there's nothing wrong with being nuanced, because on this channel, no one's ever going to be like, but you said this and you said that. No, it's evolving. When you know better, you know better. Like, we can stretch our minds. We can say one day, like the way I was like, Mia ain't shit. And then the next week, I was like, Mia really surprised me. I'm not flip flopping. My mind is elastic and it's expanding to actually look at Mia and her character as a full person. That's all I'm saying. So you guys don't have to get into these character wars. People can be both right and wrong at the same time, but let's stick on topic about what we're actually talking about. Just because I said you were wrong for doing A does not mean that you're a bad person. It just means that you're not shit for doing A. But yeah, let's talk about the funny times. What was the funniest part of this reunion for you?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I can remember. I mean, I don't think it was funny, but it was pretty gross when Robin was talking about her. She couldn't go to the restroom. I get that. I guess that was pretty crazy. You know.
Wait, what? When the weird thing is, I realize about Robin, you know how Ashley is always saying inappropriate thoughts about her, comments about her body to me, right?
Hmm.
And you're just like, girl, I didn't need to know when you said your uterus was falling out. I didn't need to know that. I didn't know what that meant. I realized that maybe the producers cut out a lot. Do you think Robin's an oversharer too when it comes to her body? Because the way,
I mean, she did it pretty casually in that moment. I was like, "Whoa, what the hell?" I mean, I never saw in the house of Rio, never people saying they couldn't go to the restroom. I'm like, damn, I didn't. That was giving me Ramona vibes, because I mean, well, I mean, not Ramona's actions, but they took that was crazy. That was crazy. I mean, the episode was good. It went by so fast. I simply couldn't take copious notes, whatever. But yeah, it was a good episode. But that one just stuck out to me. It was like, wow, what am I watching? This is crazy.
so here's the thing. Miss Frazier just said, Tisa, is it true that Mia quit Real Housewives of Potomac? I don't think she quit. I think that maybe she's playing hardball with producers. I can't see Mia walking away from reality TV unless what happened in the Nicki Minaj episode humiliated her that much. Because if there's one thing I know about Mia, she's going to cling to her reality. it's very important that people see Mia as rich and people see Mia as super, super successful. It's very, very important to her. So I could see as something damaged her fake reality, her retreating into her world. But I mean, isn't that all of us? If you're going to say something that you don't like, you're going to do that anyway. Did you hear anything about Mia quitting?
Yeah, I think on online and Twitter and stuff, I heard people, but I didn't hear it from her. Yeah, I think I did. But you know what's so funny? Mia again is a very complicated woman because the more I look at her, I guess Candace is a pretty strong lady, strong little small little lady, and me, you talk about her probably having a Napoleon complex. That's why she always going after. That's why she's so tough and everything, Miss Candace. But I thought the conversation that Candace and Wendy had in the room after the first segment, and she talked about how she delivers stuff and how you do things, whatever. That was pretty interesting. But Mia talking to a scholar saying, "My goodness gracious, they brought you out here only to give out 2 sentences. Wow, you going that fast?" I mean, a scholar was up there for a hot second and she was gone. She came in at the end of one episode, she was gone before, pretty much up the beginning of this episode, and Mia was reading her texts or reading her Twitter issues. Mia was listen. She was holding on. Whether you love her or hate her, she didn't back down. And she was funny in that moment when she said, "I can't believe Skylar came to the show and was leaving only after she delivered 2 sentences."
That was, again, we see we see the direction that producers are taking the show, and it is for entertainment value, and they want to ramp up the entertainment value. Again, I feel like Real Housewives of Potomac, it's a great show. I love the cast, but it is going the way of truly entertainment. They're starting to get into their roles. I thought the first few seasons was, I mean, even now it's super amusing. I love Potomac, right? But it seems like they're starting to get into their roles, right? Where lock in, you're the villain, you're the voice of reason, you're the witty grand dame matriarch, you're this, you're that. So I feel like maybe the producers felt there was no real role for Escala because Escala is too real for that. And by real, I mean she's too nuanced. I see even from like, YouTube, people, when you're watching TV, people do like roles and they want you to stay in your roles. I don't know, maybe one time Bravo might have a chance at excellence when they actually let things get nuanced. But again, who do I know? Maybe they have the metrics and they're like, yeah, but when we let nuanced characters in, nobody wants to see it. So we're just going to keep being. But I do wish that they'd had Escala on more because I find Escala really, really interesting. And it's funny that the producers were more focused on someone that literally comes in the room and just lies, lies, lies. No shade. I find Mia very amusing, but it's nothing but lies from the pits of hell, to quote Candace. And they're fine with that. But then if I was Mia, I would be worried about that too, because that shows that, yeah, they're using you, but how many seasons are you going to be on? This whole lying at a drop of a hat, becoming who you need to be, and always being in survival mode, that can only last for so long. You know what I'm saying? It can
Yeah.
only last for so long before you start getting sick of it. What I want to ask you this, right? What did you think of uh Giselle's, and what, so for you guys that didn't see it yet, Giselle, Wendy, and Robin were going back and forth because I see that Giselle can't have a conversation about Robin jumping in, right? So it's always Giselle and Robin, right? What did you think of the conversation when they were trying to explain why they brought these rumors up about her husband and how it was no big deal? Because I want to say for you guys, there's still threads everywhere on the internet trying to prove that this rumor actually was real. So, what did you think of their excuse of bringing it up and why she should have just let it go?
Well, I didn't buy the excuse. I thought the excuse was pretty weak. I think that she said it clear as day that a couple of thousand people see the rumor on the different blogs. But when you bring it to the show, it develops and it's spread over YouTube, and I thought that was weak that they pretended that they didn't understand. Um, when you bring on the show, it takes on a whole different life. So yeah, I didn't buy it. I thought that they were doing it just to be messy, as Wendy said.
I think they were doing it to be messy, as Wendy said, but it just shocked me when Andy actually said, "Oh, but it's not true, so don't worry about it." Again, in Potomac, and Potomac's an actual interesting, because if anything, it's a petri dish for the world at large. It's just kind of like we all know how rumors work. The reason why people don't like rumors starting is because once a rumor starts, no matter how you address it, it leads on into infamy. It goes on,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yes, I
even
do.
yeah, so even breathing that into the world on a
Mm-hmm.
platform for millions of people, and even Andy trying to act like it was no big deal, I was like, yeah, production just has their storyline. And Wendy's playing it very well. Again, Wendy is in the world of politics, she's in the world of being on TV. She knows the way things go. She's doing it really, really well. Now, I heard somebody says that Gloria said, no, Mia shouldn't quit. She's complicated. Yeah, but at least she can get another season. We get it. I agree with you. I think Mia should stay. But the funny thing is, for some reason, Escala seems to be Mia's kryptonite. And I would like to see Escala stay because for some reason, Mia gets under those girls' skin and especially Candace's skin. And that's amusing on a certain point. But Escala is Mia's kryptonite. And I like the way where Mia will be going at it, and then Escala will say 3 words, and then Mia will be so annoyed and just go at it. There's something about Escala that really triggers Mia's insecurity. And again, I know Escala's beautiful, I know, but I don't know what it is. There's something about Escala, who she is, that Mia, I think, kind of almost wishes that she had. I don't know. I'm still trying to work it out, but it triggers her insecurity, and it's actually pretty funny to see. What do you think about the Mia Escala situation?
Well, I mean, I think that me and Escala, I hope that they give Escala another chance. I mean, we really didn't see much of her. She was very level-headed and balanced, but we didn't really get a chance to see her house, her family, her, parents, more of a, nothing. So, oh, I don't know. I would like to see if there's something there. Very interested. Mia, yeah, I think that Mia, I don't know. I think that Mia probably will be around. She made the trailer. She's, the hot topic. She gets good reviews on things she go to. Again, she wasn't my cup of tea, but she has her moments, and some of her moments are really good. And so she will probably be back next year.
Let's see. Kimmy, I feel you. When Mia said I'm a boss, and then she outed that she makes $450,000 a year, I fell over laughing. It was like, Mia, the way Mia was acted, I thought she was like making millions, like multi-millions a year. Like your business is grossing a 10, 11 million, maybe even 6 million a year. When she said she made $450,000 salary, I was like, okay, so moving on. So moving on. Maybe G got that money hidden somewhere off of the shore of the Cayman Islands. I don't know. But the way Mia was talking about in this low budget is a girl, you make $450,000 a year after taxes. That's like what, three? Actually, to be generous, after taxes, that's 300,000. It's probably closer to 275, but it's 300,000. Mia, all right, girl. All right, with your boss energy. Okay, so let's talk about the lighthearted moments. Did you believe that Karen and Giselle had a kumbaya moment over Karen hugging her daughters when she came in?
Hmm. I don't know. I mean, shoot, I don't know. Maybe, possibly. I mean, I don't know. Their relationship, I think a lot of people have said that they put on for TV, that the idea is that they fight just for the cameras. So I don't know. But it seemed in that moment, the wording that Giselle used, I mean, I hate to say it, seemed authentic to me that she really was like, okay, well, we have these issues. And I'm always watching how the ladies on the cast interact with my girls. In one scene, Wendy, you looked at my daughters in a way that I didn't like. You looked at her like a woman, and you treated her a certain way. Now, Karen and I, we've gone back and forth. And when she saw my daughter, she got up, and this was the love. And she could have just sort of sat there and been in grand dame, and not even got up for my daughters. And I don't know. So maybe her daughters are important to her, and maybe she really watches the ladies like a hawk, like a mother might. I mean, that part, some of those ingredients seem real to me. I don't know. I could be wrong, but it seemed
Let's
like she really was. Like, I mean, it seemed like it seemed like she loves her daughters, which I don't think people could even debate. And I think that maybe she was scared that Karen, who they probably known for a long time, I think is the history that they actually know Karen off the show, or knew her when they were little girls, whatever. That when they saw her, that she showed them love, and maybe And maybe Giselle thought, no matter how many insults I gave this woman, she still respected my daughters. That could be a real moment. Could be.
I mean, it could be. I was. What y'all think in the comments? I was very, very doubtful. I thought it was just production because it
I
came
mean,
out of
her
nowhere.
crying could be extra, but her noting the moment could be real.
I don't think that I don't know. Maybe because like I also, as you guys can see, have transfer tears. I don't think that she was crying because Karen touched her. I think that Giselle actually is going through something and she thought about being a mom and this and that because she was crying over with her daughters and being I don't know. There was something going on with her daughters, but I don't think that had anything to do with Karen. I
Hmm.
do think that it was a bit phony that the way that they were acting like the barbs that Karen was saying were just lighthearted barbs, and that's the way they were taking them. And the jabs that Giselle was throwing back, which is ha 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 fun. When Karen is still on Giselle's ass and going to war with her for her lighthearted joke about Ray going to prison. I don't know. I
Well,
don't
now
know.
that, so wait. I was going to say with the thing when she said about Ray not dying or whatever that was, that part for me, I'm going to say I would give. I'm looking at Karen with a little suspect because I'm thinking she said, "Oh well, I said it a couple of years ago, and you mean tell me you waited all the way till your kids grew up before you brought it to the show?" That part didn't make no sense to me from Karen. That I will say to Giselle's point, I didn't buy that at all. I feel like basically Karen came into the season knew she was going to be in the hot seat after that damn binder, and she said, "I'm going to be on the defense and say that I'm mad with Giselle because something happened 3 years ago." The girl didn't wear any shirts and do any stuff. I don't think anything crazy. Her parents died, and for the most part, Giselle tried to not really go as she always goes with Karen. And but the last reunion, she was up there and she roasted Giselle, rightly so. And Karen came in and said, a couple of years ago, you said my husband should die. She used anything in the book to be able to go after Giselle. Again, I'm not team Giselle at all, but I think that Karen was reaching in that moment. But I will say that what they said, the funny part for me was when Andy said, "Well, Hampton University." She said, "I'm so sorry about Hampton University. Please, forgive me." And that part made me laugh, but she had to apologize to the university. And also, she didn't really take back her being. I'm not going to use the derogatory word. About the word that she used with Giselle, but she said that she did get the rumor of an STD from a blog, and she was, worried, sorry about that. And the same thing was something that she uses. Just something that she wanted to throw in there for rhythm. Um, yeah, but the thing is, they one thing about this franchise is they have their own perspective. It's the same thing as Married to Medicine. I wanted to add that too because when Mariah was up there, she would always try to bring up the double standard, and her and Lisa Nicole never really can get a real good support in that show. And same thing is happening over here with Candace. There's a double standard, and yeah, you cannot talk to a woman. I mean, either of those women would have said to somebody else, "Oh, you are, I don't know, a derogatory word from Hampton University." Somebody could have went off on them. So I think that they do use terrible wording, and it's not your mama's low budget. They went somewhere else, So it is what it is.
That's true. Thank you so much for the super chat, Rock and Roll Dina. You said, love my reviews. Thank you so much. Candy and Wendy are the only ones who have something to fall back on outside the show. Wendy could have been looking at Robin, not Grace. Yeah, and here's the thing. Wendy actually tweeted, it was on All True Tea. Wendy actually tweeted, she apologized to her, but she said the way she was looking was when she was looking like that because she had just gotten kicked out of Giselle's event and she was just angry. And she apologized if she was looking at Grace like that. I'll tell you the truth. It takes a low down person to mean mug someone's child. And I just don't think Wendy has it in her to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a certain type of person to, and I know Grace is almost a woman, but she's still a child because she's half Wendy's age. I just don't see Wendy mean mugging a child. If anything, I could see her mugging Robin, but why would she be looking at the little kid? Do you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
if Giselle had a problem with that, and I'm being serious because I feel like Giselle looked at those tapes and she was looking for not a moment, but an excuse, right? Because if I looked through those tapes and I saw somebody mean mugging my child, wouldn't you say something to him? If not picking up the phone, but wouldn't you say something to him the very next time you saw them?
Of
I
course.
don't know. It just seemed weird, you know? It bothered you that much and you waited to the reunion and you didn't even bring it up except to say, oh, but remember when you were mean mugging my child? And Wendy was like, huh? Okay, if I was, I apologize. It was really, really odd to me. So I don't know about that one. I
Well, then
really
she, but Wendy also countered her and said, "Listen, if I did do that, if you feel I did that way, I do apologize. But now I want to talk about my family. You know, I have my children, and they've been affected by this rumor. So I'm going to need you to apologize to my children." So she basically matched her child for child, basically in that moment.
That's true. Steph Cece said, if she didn't give her a look, how did the camera catch it? Um, Listen, I'm not letting
Well,
Wendy go
yeah.
off of that. I'm just saying, from what Wendy showed us, unless she's doing a good job hiding, she does not seem that low down. Because that's weird to kind of stare angrily at a child. But also, you know how it is. Sometimes you're, at least with me, sometimes you're in the mood, your face is stuck on what it's stuck, and you're just looking around. Do you know what I'm saying? Not to
Well, you know
mention,
what? Yeah,
go
I
on.
was gonna say, on Bravo, it was this woman, Kate Chastain, and one below deck, which I love, and I remember the first season she was up there. They said that she had resting, you know what face. She couldn't help it, and it was affecting her tips and stuff like that. So sometimes people have that when they thinking, you're thinking very strongly, and I think that you're right. She could have been looking right at Robin, and maybe the camera just sort of, you know.
But again, Giselle, if somebody was mean mugging your child and it hurt you that bad, and they're your castmate, and you're coming at her for all this, but this is what I mean about Giselle. Giselle is a very passive aggressive shade assassin. Giselle very well could have thought that Wendy was mean mugging her daughter, but Giselle never hits anything up front. It would have been too much for Giselle to go up there and been like, "Yo, why was you looking at Grace like that?" Right? And Grace was still there, and Giselle could have called Wendy right then. Giselle, and you know another thing is, and all I'm saying about why I think it's manufactured, I can't see Giselle passing up the opportunity to embarrass Wendy about me mugging her child on national TV. I don't know. Again, Giselle's passive aggressive, but I can see her in the next scene or starting mess saying she was looking at Grace like this. But maybe she didn't want to make Grace a storyline. Again, I don't want to transfer the way I would handle things, but you mean mugging my child? We would have had a conversation about it. If not right then, sometime soon. But I
You
don't
know,
know.
one thing I want to say too is that Ashley, I'm gonna bring her up. Um, Ashley, to me, and I've said this before, and I said it before, she reminds me, not politically, of course not, but she reminds me of Melania Trump, and the fact that Melania basically had to continue to support that crazy person, that monster who, was her husband.
Yeah.
And he can never do anything wrong, and would the world know he was wrong as everything. Now you have Ashley getting these legitimate questions about her husband, and even the one about him wanting to be a movie producer of all things, where people have to go to him for jobs and audition and who knows what.
Yeah.
And we already know about the Harvey Weinsteins and other kind of crazy people in the world. And she said, "Oh well, this is a good idea and this kind of thing." And I mean, there's nothing that man can do wrong. Never. Even when she would sit up there and say, "Well, I was body shamed by a cast member," but her husband was sort of intimating a couple of things about her body too, and she said that wasn't wrong. It was just in the context. So, I think that she reminds me of a person who will always say publicly that her husband is never wrong. She's gotten worse. Now, the first season, second season, Ashley wasn't like that, if we remember. She was arguing with him in the parking lot. She was calling him out every time. She was threatening to leave him. She was going to different places. She was always calling him out on his craziness. And now, maybe after the prenup is signed up or who knows what, she's like, it's a wrap. She basically, he could do no wrong.
Now that was interesting for bringing that up. Ashley is a lot like that. She's stand by that man no matter what. But you are right. It is very, very, very interesting that Michael actually did something worse to me, because your worst enemy calling you a wide ass, and your husband, after you just had his baby while they're filming. Because I remember in that scene, Ashley's face was like, she literally felt like he slapped her in the face, right? And that was okay, and that was completely fine. And again, once again, because they have a storyline, Andy was like, let's move on. The only thing they actually did focus on was Candace, a little bit of Wendy, and what else? Candace was the whole reunion. What are they going to do if they push Candace off? I don't know. I feel like they are trying to push her out. I feel like some of the ladies are jealous about her success. I think the other ladies that find her annoying is like, oh, well, she has that record deal now, so she'll be okay. So you can go and leave, you know?
Well, I
But
think that for me, I think that if they push Candace out, what they'll have is a version of Salt Lake City or maybe Dallas of Dallas Housewife. I mean, it won't have any kind of energy there. It'll just be them being boring, basically. You know, I don't think that Candace has to rip people apart, and I love Candace, so I don't think that she does. But I think that yeah, they wouldn't have an interesting show. I don't think she's going. She look. I don't know. I don't think she's leaving anywhere. I hope not.
I hope not too. I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't. But then again, it is by the same people that did Real Housewives of Atlanta. We know Bravo loves deconstructing a show, where you're like, no, but this works.
That's
It's like,
true.
y'all remember when the Philadelphia 76ers won? Well, they didn't win, but they almost won the NBA championship. And then the very next year, they took apart the whole damn team. Bravo loves doing that. Everybody's just like, why would you take apart the whole team? But Bravo loves doing that. I will say, right? Um, it was interesting that everything Michael does, there's always an excuse for it. And the fact of body shaming, like you said, when you're talking about the husband, what's the thing, right? Also, it's interesting with I don't know. What do you think Bravo's going with everybody's storyline next season? Besides, Candace needs to submit because let's talk about Candace and her need to submit right now. What what do the ladies want from her? Now Robin and everybody is saying it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Candace doesn't she's not really a yeller. She's not really a screamer. She has, but in most time her shade is delivered quite eloquently, right? So she talks in a normal tone, she delivers her shade. What do the ladies want from her? Like where do you see that divide?
Oh, you said what do I think that delays one from Candace?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I think that change. I mean, you know, what's so funny is as viewers, it seems totally schizophrenic to cast because at one minute they support her last year, I guess because they didn't like Monique, and now this year they seem to be team Ashley. But you know what's so funny? Ashley has a strong hold on the show itself. Like she gets along with everybody, and this the alliances are very strong when it comes between her and Giselle. Robin is hit or miss. I don't know what they want from Candace. I really don't know. I mean, if she was to do what she did at the beginning of the season, we wouldn't even have a show, really. You know.
I mean, I guess so, but it would be like the first 3 seasons. I will tell you with Candace, I think even Giselle turning on her, we now see, which is Candace was smart to see. Well, thinking back, Giselle was never really a fan of Candace, but then when Monique came, she took up for Candace. Now she's back to throwing Candace under the bus. I do believe that Robin and Candace have a friendship. I find it unsettling that Robin is giving podcast interviews about how Candace, it's just the way that she says it is so bad. And if Robin hadn't said that, I would have been like, yeah, everything's fine. But I do believe that maybe they are trying to edge Candace out of the show. And like how Karen said, it's only going to get so long before things get exhausting. Karen, to me, is just like Giselle. They don't forgive shit. She felt like Candace disrespected her and didn't show her due. And Karen is not going to be satisfied until Candace gets fired because to her mind, that's what Candace has deserved. Giselle and the Grand Dame are more alike than they like to admit. The only difference is she found a way to stay married to Ray, right? As opposed, but then Rodney the Voice, if you guys didn't see him, I was in his live last night. It was really funny. He said that we saw you for a whole season running after a man, begging you to make him say, I love you. For a whole season, begging him to say, I love you. And now you want to sit here on the channel and tell people about their marriage, what it means to be happy, what it means to have a man. I guess that's her version, right? Some men like that. And I guess that's what you got to do these days to keep a man. Run behind him, say yes to everything he says, and beg him to tell you you're pretty and say you love him. He loves you, right? I guess that's that. Let's see what else actually happened in that, right? Oh, thank you. Hey, Romel, thank you so much. Thank you. Mia went through all the ladies. She kept going for Candace. She sneaks in. And listen, she sneaks in. Mia does sneak in unnecessary jabs, but they're the jabs that production and Andy wants. Because every time Mia even breathes, Andy's like, "What's that? What did you say? Oh, okay, Mia. Let's just go on." Right? What about? Let's see. Sandra wants us to know that Judgy Justice blocked the website and club where Mia worked, on and across from a Costco and near McDonald's next to the music store where she goes in Charlotte. The hotels are rated 3.2.
And that's what she can get $10,000 a night. Okay.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. She blogged the website and club where Mia worked at. Oh, no, that's one thing about Mia. Mia needs her false realities to live. She really does. And Lily the Red Lipstick Hustler, she made a comment a couple of weeks ago where she said, "Mia, don't let it fool you. Mia is trying to be the alpha. She's going through the group because she's trying to position herself so she can take over." And that might be Mia is obsessed with being the boss. That might be. But on a whole different another level, Mia needs her lies to survive. Mia
Well,
had
so
hmm?
I was going to say, so for me, when you said Mia needs her lives to survive, that was giving me. So are we saying that Mia is a demented version of Annie's story? And basically, she's almost like an orphan who has to sort of live in La La Land and Dreamland. And as an adult, she still lives in La La Land and Dreamland. I mean, I don't understand why. In all honesty, she had a traumatic childhood, and maybe, and I'm being very serious, maybe she had to live and she had to lie to herself maybe as a child to say it's going to get better, it's not that bad. I mean, we have parents who passed away, people who are in jail. So as an adult, I'm not sure if she's worked past the fact that you're doing well, you're a beautiful woman. Again, you have different kind of features, and you don't have to, I don't know, you just don't have to be not more than what you are. And I think she just hasn't come to that realization that maybe that's the reason why she talks about her money all the time. And maybe that's the reason why she minimizes other people and always try to, as you say, be alpha over people that she don't really know. So, yeah, I think that maybe that's her insecurities from her childhood and she really has to get over. She has good moments, but yeah, the La La Land, living in lies and all those kind of things, yeah, maybe it's from her childhood, and she just has
Yeah.
not processed.
No, definitely. I think Mia is a purely ego-based person. When I say La La Land, I didn't mean it was like all candy and rainbows, but I will say I think that she lives in her pure ego-based. I think as we go through stuff in childhood, you guys have heard me. If you guys don't know, I do tarot readings. But one of the things that certain cards represent is like the Lover's card, right? We go through stuff as children. And as we get older, most of us try, and our inner child was somehow starved of something. And as we get older and we go into our spiritual journey, most of us try to give the inner child the attention or the love or the openness or the freeness, whatever we were deprived of in childhood, we try to go inside and nurture our inner child because we look at our inner child as the best part, the most pure part of us. Mia's different. I feel like Mia's been through a lot, but Mia feels like her inner child, that very innocent, overly loving, overly trusting part of herself is the reason she was chewed up and spit out. It's the way reason I think she thinks it's the reason people made fun of her. It's the reason people could hurt her. It's the reason that people could take advantage of her because that part of her was searching for human connection and was desperate to get it and probably put her in situations that allowed people to humiliate her, take advantage of her. I think Mia's ego was built as a prison around her inner child. And I think that she will let everything fall, come heaven, hell on this earth, before she lets that inner child out, because that's the worst part of her in her mind. So when Mia is in her ego base, it means that her false self, she's so scared the world's going to hurt her again that she is literally ruled by the false self. And again, that's why I'm like, let her live in her false reality because when somebody's false self falls, it's nothing that's like, oh, rainbows and lollipops. And it's nothing that you're just crying broken. When people's false selves fall, they literally try to destroy everything and everyone around it before their false self goes down because they are in survival mode. So that's why I'm like, you guys, let's just let Mia be in her lies because I don't want to see the manifestation of when Mia goes into crisis mode because her false self ego is being challenged. I think it's going to be very ugly. I think it's going to be like borderline insane. And I just don't know. It's like, let her have it. Yes, Mia, you're a boss bitch making $450,000 a year before taxes. Again, that's a great salary for anyone, but boss level, and you got 2 kids? No, okay, Mia. All right, you know. But again, maybe that's her salary as a management and they still make their net that goes in the trust. I don't know about that. I just know like boss. I don't know, right? Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining Recap Rants. We got to go. It's been great and real, everybody. And I will talk to you guys all next week. Thank you so much for joining me, Mel. And B, thank you so much for being there in the chat and everybody else. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.